When the winter snows come, that usually means the race cars go in the garage for the winter, and the virtual ones come out. For the drivers of Grid Life, they take to iRacing to compete in a winter championship all winter long to keep their skills sharp for the upcoming racing season. It's 2020 now, and we're still a long way away from all the snow melting and giving way to new seeds of spring, but tonight it's the season finale for the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup Mustangs from Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Welcome to SimTV. My name, of course, is Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna for our fourth round of the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup. Finian, it's been a long time coming. We've been to racetracks all over the country, but for some people, I think Road America kind of is the perfect place to end any sports car championship because it's one of the oldest racetracks in the country, at least permanent road courses in the country, and it's also mostly unchanged from its original form. So this is as pure as it gets when it comes to road racing in America. How excited are you for tonight, and what do you expect in our final race of the season?
Yeah, I'm really excited tonight. I think, like you said in the intro, pretty much a perfect place to come to for the finale of a season, especially with these three long straightaways. Expect to be a little bit of a draft, at least enough to help these guys try to set up some moves, and especially when you have 40 some odd cars here, that's going to be a lot of draft to work with.
Absolutely. So as we look down on Road America, this racetrack is 4 miles long. Let's roll through our track guide for tonight's event. Take a look at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So Road America, of course, 4.048 miles. It's a long way around this racetrack. An extraordinarily long front straightaway in particular. You climb up the hill underneath the bridge and cross the start-finish line, and these cars will be well over 130 miles an hour down into turn number 1, a fast fourth, maybe third gear right-hander if you're in traffic, then down through a slight kink to turn 2, down to third gear for turn 3, and then onto the back straightaway towards turn 4, and then into one of the best passing zones on the racetrack, turn number 5.
Yeah, in turn 5 is really going to see a lot of these guys slam on the brakes, try to get a run, going out of there, go up into turn 6. This is a difficult part of the track, very narrow, and then down into sweeping turn 7. And then after that, the next few corners, you go straight to the carousel, and that's a difficult corner to navigate.
Yeah, the carousel in this car, the Mustangs, they don't like to handle very well. They don't like to corner. They're a straight line beast only. So when you head through turns 9 and 10, the carousel, you're setting yourself up for turn 11, which is the kink. And at high speed, it's very dicey through there on a solid rear axle. Then you're heading down through Kettle Bottoms into Canada Corner, turn number 12, a third gear right-hander, up the hill towards turns 13 and 14 to finish out the lap. And that is a lap here at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So we'll head down as qualifying is already underway here tonight. 10 minutes of qualifying to get the best lap that you can possibly get around here, and it's going to be so important with almost 50 cars on the grid tonight, Finney. And how important is qualifying going to be?
It's going to be very important, especially considering the fact, a lot of times really long run here, almost 2.5 minutes. You pretty much have to leave pit road at the beginning of the time. It takes 7.5 minutes to complete complete 2 laps of qualifying, including the out lap. So you have to get going and hope that you don't get an off track or end up wrecking out because you have to start the whole process over. So, and especially considering this large field, trying to navigate through it from the back, not really going to be much of an option.
So walk me through my point standings here, Finney, with our last round. Again, 3 races tonight, and this first race of this 3-race format means nothing other than to just qualify for races 2 and 3. But for DJ Alessandrini, the points leader, what are his goals tonight?
Well, I think honestly for him just honestly show up. His points lead to Ken Ausil is, if my math's correct, 17 points back to Ken Ausil, and Ken Ausil will not in this race. Hopefully shows up for the next 2 rounds after this tonight. Max Luper in behind him is much further back, almost 30 points. So for DJ, it's pretty much a matter of just showing up, considering it's 20 points to the winner for each race, down all the way to 1 for 20th. So as long as you can just show up and finish decently, at least in the top 20, I think it'll be a successful night for DJ.
One driver that has been a long time coming into the Grid Life iRacers League is Anthony Cuthbert in the number 41. Has spent a lot of his fall season working on his real race car. Well, it's time to get into the sim, so this will be his first competition tonight at Road America. And what a place to start. Let's talk about this racetrack in particular, Finney. The challenges of Road America. You would think that this place looks relatively simple because it's a lot of straightaway, but it's also extremely heavy braking zones, and in a car this heavy, that can certainly be a challenge.
Yeah, and I would say this track is not too terribly difficult in, GT3 machinery, GT machinery, higher downforce cars. And this thing does not like corners whatsoever. It likes the straightaways because you don't have to turn or do anything. You just go in a straight line. once you get to a corner, and especially like you're saying, these heavy braking zones down at the end of these straightaways, that's where this car starts to get a little bit upset. And also to make the corner, too, you have to make sure you line up perfect, otherwise you're going to go flying off into the grass.
Yeah, and of course, it's a manual transmission as well, and I think one of the challenges also in this particular car is the transmission is very, very finicky. I think Rob Wilkinson last week called it a box of neutrals. Well, that's characteristic of a race car that doesn't like to be money shifted. You're going to have to take your time with these shifts, get that clutch all the way to the floor, make your shift, and don't rush it, because this car doesn't like to be beaten on in that regard. So especially, I think third gear is always the tricky one for me, and sometimes second. So shifting, especially on the race starts from a standing start, is going to be extremely challenging as well. So you see Tom O'Gorman working his way through. We expect him to be good, and DJ Alessandrini, of course. Other drivers to keep an eye out tonight, Jeremy Swenson in the number 17, runs a Corvette in the real world, and he's quite good at driving it. Another kind of heavy, powerful car, and I think he's right at home in the Mustang this week.
Yeah, so far so good for a lot of these guys. Alessandrini not on pole, as I would have thought by now. He's still waiting for these guys to come back around to complete a lot of their second laps. We'll see how it improves after that.
Other driver we got to mention before we get rolling tonight, Zach Buchanan in the number 40 car. Kind of popping on over from the Fuel Racing League, which typically runs oval series, and now, of course, they dabble in road courses now and then, but Zach, a competitor in what was the Fuel Mission 22 Cup Series this past season, as well as the r/Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series, and was very competitive in both of those, so kind of cool to see him pop over to the roadside here for the Grid Life iRacers Championship. And he expressed interest back at COTA at joining. Now he's going to get his chance to go up against some of the best in iRacing on the roadside. So he's working his way through turns 13 and 14, and he'll put a lap time down, and we'll see how he stacks up.
Yeah, speaking of putting a lap time down, DJ is coming out of the final turn, up the hill he will go. And we'll see, can he beat Austin Cobb for that pole position?
And across the line, will he improve on a 224.8? He does. But it didn't count. Finian was off track at some point and still sitting in second place as Buchanan comes across the line. It looks like his time didn't count, and he ran into the fence across the front straightaway. So he's going to have to start towards the tail of the field. That's going to be a tough one to swallow. Gil Winningham in the 81 car rather this week. We mentioned his Ford Accord scheme last week. Kind of a new one on board this week.
I'm trying to find him on the track.
Heading down into Canada Corner, the number 81. Hasn't laid down a time yet. Yeah, pretty colorful. It kind of looks like a Christmas present. Almost.
A little bit late there, but I mean, I guess better late than never.
I guess so. Gorgeous kind of satin-looking finish on it as well. It's been a minute and 20 seconds left in qualifying. It's Austin Cobb, who's currently sitting on pole in his number 36. Other drivers, Max Lupfer has been incredibly competitive, up to 4th in the 688. This car really suits him. I don't think he's been ever this competitive in the Grid Life iRacers League, and he's top 5 consistently now. And again, a trouble at Sebring for him last week, but I think tonight is his night to break through and get a victory. Kevin Glass, Gene Sirota, making their ways around. Patrick Gallagher in the number 7, breaking down in, I believe this is turn number 8. And I don't know if he'll get all the way back around, but if won't, I don't think he will.
No, he's got half a minute to get back around. He's got to put on the nitro, otherwise he's definitely not making it back to the line.
I guarantee you this car doesn't have nitro. It's got a mythical thing that most sports car drivers don't know called torque.
Yep, it's got a lot of it.
That's the one thing the oval guys know is how to build an engine, I'll tell you that much. None of this 4-banger turbo nonsense. Let's get a V8 in there. Qualifying complete. Austin Cobb will start on pole. Again, 3-race format here. First race, just a qualifier. Race 2 and race 3 are for points, and will be set by the grid from the first or from the race before it. Of course, in race 3 will be set by the finishing order from race 2 with the top 10 inverted. All right, let's get rolling tonight. Again, it is going to be about a 7-lap race. Austin Cobb is the driver on pole tonight. There's a whole lot of race cars here, almost 50 strong. And we got 3 races this evening. See Jeremy Swenson lined up right behind Cobb. Swenson's going to be good. Of course, DJ Alessandrini, the points leader, the one that we're watching tonight, as we get ready to go racing.
Yeah, there really are a lot of cars. I mean, some guys are starting actually down on the hill. So that's going to be interesting to see them off a standing start going uphill.
Looking down, you can actually see them underneath the bridge from the blimp cam, and it's about 25 rows of race cars here from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Track conditions this evening, 73 in the air, 75 on the racetrack, a southerly wind, partly cloudy skies, perfect for racing. Waiting for a few more drivers to grid. Ito Waxman, Charles Boley, Miguel Diaz-de Paz, Kobe Shield, Peter Zhang, a couple other drivers kind of taking their time. Luke for also taking their time, or taking his time to get on the grid. And then the rush down to turn one, which is always interesting at Road America, especially with this many cars. This is not a very wide racetrack either, especially on the front straight.
Yeah, and you gotta imagine, some of the guys are gonna really try to take up as much of an opportunity down into turn one to pass as many cars as they can, and that's when it gets interesting.
Waiting for the gridding process to complete. Just a few stragglers. Front 15 or so rows are complete. The Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup has 3 races left. It's the final round tonight. You're going to see it all right here on SimTV on our YouTube and Facebook. Subscribe and like our Facebook page if you haven't. Here we go. Cobb in the number 36 is in control. Waiting for the green flag to drop here from Road America. Green flag flies and we're racing in Wisconsin. Stampede down into turn one. Alessandrini pokes out ahead, and he'll get to the first turn first. Everyone else, look at them, 2 and 3 wide. Mid-pack, big crash in the middle of the field, scattering off in the gravel trap. The 30 car, that's Kobe Shield, and more. The 12 car also involved. A few more cars spinning wide.
Yeah, up in the front, Austin Cobb, poor start for him from first. Immediately back to third on just by turn one alone, as Alessandrini leads them off down towards turn 5.
Yeah, it's an 11-car breakaway way at the back of the field. There's another car off the racetrack. It's Gerald Nembard in the 32. He's way out wide, and in the grass going to come to a stop up front into turn 5 for the first time. Alessandrini, the top spot.
And Austin Barnes out there, one of the few guys trying to make a pass on the inside of Tom O'Gorman.
And Tom going to crowd him a little bit on entrance to turn 6. This is a very slow corner down to second gear potentially. Some drivers will keep it in third. Tomo runs way out to the edge of the curbing. Up in front, Lupfer on the inside of Andrew Abbott. He'll take 5th spot back.
Oh, and in the middle of all that, Jeremy Swenson took away the lead from DJ Alessandrini. So Swenson now leading this race. 3 different leaders, and we're still not through lap 1.
James Tack in the 43, going to get on by Eric Pennington. Bradley Adams has spun around in the number 69 car, so he's gone for a loop and going to lose a lot of spots here as the field rolls on by. Swenson in command as they head to the kink here, Finney, in high-speed section. Very easy to make this go wrong.
Yeah, it really is, and you already see some guys nailing the DRS sign as they're going off track, 4 wheels in the grass. For the lead, Alessandrini making a pass on Swenson down at the Canada corner.
Gil Winningham off in the kink. You see DJ swing back to right, as you mentioned, into turn 12. Has the spot, and will go on through to the lead. And look at Austin Cobb again. Mentioned he started on pole. He's hungry to get back there.
Already a small 4-car breakaway for the lead. Everyone else kind of funneling in behind them, but it looks like we got 4 leaders at the moment.
Austin Barnes getting a bit of bumper from Abbott. They're both going to run a little bit wide. Tomo on the inside. Going to try to get clear by both of them as we come across and through for our first lap here from Road America.
I think the goal for O'Gorman is going to be trying to chase down the leaders up ahead. It's a little bit of a gap that he's got to overcome, but I think if anyone could do it, it would be Tom O'Gorman, was second fastest in practice.
They're a little preoccupied all racing together. Look at this big fight in the background. It's about 16th place, a little higher than that. Val DiPietro in it. Dan McVicker in the 42 as they head down into turn 1. And up the road, Pennington in the number 31, being chased by Bob Dice, Ryan Garwile. Front drivers have separated themselves out, and as you mentioned, it's a 4-car breakaway. So I think one of our winners, or our winner, will be from this group. But Tomo leading that charge for 5th.
Yeah, curious if you'll be able to really break the draft off of Barnes and Abbott. You know, it's not completely overpowering, but I think it's going to be enough to keep these guys sticking with it. You see Barnes trying to make a pass on O'Gorman, and that's holding him up.
Swenson took a look to the inside of Cobb, and they traded positions, as you mentioned, behind, though. Barnes trying to get by Tomo. Now he's got Abbott to his inside, and not a whole lot of room left there. Bumping and slamming into turn 7.
And turn 7 gets really tight when you have guys going side by side. One has to heal, and it was Abbott in this case.
Pennington, Abbott, they get hooked together on the entrance to turn 8. They both keep it on course, but that could have been real bad for both those drivers. Andrew Lanning's gone around in the number, big car, a lot of carnage. 37's all torn up. That's Lanning. Go back and take a look at exactly how that happened. This is a multi-car accident. Have a checkup, got hit by the 27, I believe that was. And that pretty much tore up Lanning's machine, so he's going to be done for this race. At least Jorge Ortiz, he's gone around heading towards the kink. Big damage, he was one of those cars involved. $10 to go. Alessandrini still leads Cobb, Swenson, and Lupfer. Then back in 5th, it's Tom O'Gorman. And he's started to get a gap on 6th place Austin Barnes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, last time they were at the line, it was a 3.2 second gap for O'Gorman.
Oh boy, all sorts of carnage in turn 12 as everyone scatters. Zach Buchanan, he's going to get hooked together as they're going to swing wide, and cars left and right spinning, and Buchanan's going to get caught up in it. He's going to hang on, but I think going to head to pit lane.
He's going to have to head to pit lane. Had what happened to Austin Barnes last week with the
same paint scheme.
getting knocked out.
The same paint scheming too. Not a good luck scheme tonight so far. Car out wide, it's Tomo in the background. He was way out in the grass there, Finian. 4-wheeled, dirt off-roading. I know this isn't exactly a pilot here, Finian, but got to keep it on course.
Yeah, definitely this thing wasn't really designed for off-road. Up for the lead, Austin Cobb to the inside, Alessandrini for the lead. These guys are not giving it a rest.
Running out DJ over the edge of the curbing in turn 5 and the run up to 6. And this is a difficult corner to pass on the inside because it's so hard to keep it tight. And Alessandrini should have the run into 7 to hold on to this lead. Into the braking zone again.
These guys will stick together really close. I was actually afraid. I saw Alessandrini had a pretty decent lead. It looked like he might have been able to break away from Cobb, Swinton, and Lupfer, but they're not letting out of his sights.
And Tomo, last time by, was a little slower than these drivers in front of him, but if he keeps running at this pace with them battling so hard, he might actually be able to close in. So, DJ's out wide, slipping and sliding in the grass through the kink. That's not where you want to be off course, but making it work and still gaining time.
Still staying in the lead, more importantly, and I'm sure that O'Gorman's rooting for these guys to start battling side by side, so like you said, they can slow each other down.
Sean Greeley in the 23 is reset to the pits, as has Zach Buchanan. You see them at the top of the ticker. That's what they take a reset. They get set back around ahead of the leaders, but they will go back behind them here momentarily. Halfway through this race, let's look a little bit deeper in the field. How about Eric Diaz in the number 196? Trying to go around the outside of Zach Battaglia in the 18. That's that fighter plane liveried Ford Mustang with a big chunk taken out of the nose.
Yeah, and he was involved in that incident coming out of the final corner just a lap ago.
26, still up 2 spots for him, 26 to 24th. And how about this down into turn 1? Austin Barnes on the inside attack, and he's going to, a little bit dicey as they run out onto the rumble strip. They're going to get hooked together, but they're going to give each other just enough room to get back on course.
Yeah, a little bit of damage.
Oh, no!
Oh, James goes around.
Gets turned and loops it in turn 3. Trouble for the 43 car. He's going to get back rolling and lose a couple spots. And look behind Andrew Abbott. Dice, Carwile, McVicker, DiPietro, a whole group of screaming Mustangs as they head down to turn 5.
Yeah, this is where you typically see quite a few incidents with someone trying to outbrake one another. You can go really bad, car will out over the curbs.
Again, we mentioned how narrow this racetrack is. In a car this big and this heavy, there's not a lot of racetrack to use, especially when you're side by side. Abbott, off course in turn 6, he's going to have it recovered and get back on course. Taglia around in the exit of 5. And off the bumper, I believe. Oh, just might have just spun this out. And yes, all on his own. Looped it around.
I think you should take a look at Bradley Adams. I think you'll like what you see.
Oh no, here we go. See, now, guys. How'd you find that out of all the people?
I was trying to find what happened in turn 5, so I was looking up through the back of the field next to Adams, just like that.
They're just doing this for sport. they're just knocking the axles out of these things just for fun to show off. Oh, Von Gittin Jr.'s new 2020 Mustang right here. I don't even know what direction it went through that corner. Diagonally? I don't even know how you describe that. Well played, Brad. Up front for the lead, the top 3 drivers make that top 4. Still nose to tail, 5 minutes left.
Yeah, it looks like they've calmed it down just a little bit. I think they're all waiting really for the last lap to start doing anything. I think they realize that anything beforehand is futile. And I think they want Alessandrini up in the lead, although both Alessandrini and also Cobb are going offline, Cobb in the grass.
Yeah, Swenson's going to take advantage of it. Lupfer's going to follow him on through. As the front 4 fight, Swenson's going to slot himself in line. On the outside, Lupfer takes advantage and slots himself into 3rd. As they fight, Ryan Carwile chasing a group that involves Abbott, Barnes, and Pennington's up the road from these guys, kind of in a no man's land all by himself.
Yeah, same thing with O'Gorman. They're both just kind of by themselves, not really in any group. Very quiet race for them. I'm sure they like to be in the action, although they are running really well.
Lupfer and Swenson side by side through 5, and they're giving up a lot of ground to Alessandrini. I think someone's got to take advantage of this and get in line, because DJ's going to run away if they don't.
Looper goes into the grass. Looks like he might give it up here, and Swenson's going to take 2nd place away.
Again, this is only a qualifier. This doesn't count for points, so there's really nothing to get too excited about. Look at this whole line of cars behind Austin Barnes in the 51.
Yeah, everyone's fighting for a spot here. This can be big going to the next race. You can get past this line of cars.
Brake rotors glowing in these race cars. A lot of brake pressure required to stop these 3,600-pound beasts. DiPietro 18th to 12th as he continues his climb forward. There's a group of about 5 in front of him, and Carwile off just prior to the kink, but gets it back on. Rejoining at Road America is the sketchiest thing in the world when you got your wheels off the rumble strips. I mean, if you have any power applied, it's just instant spin, so you got to be real careful doing that.
Oh, speaking of the power, Bob Dice is going to power out of Canada corner. He's going to go around into the wall.
I just said it. I speak truth. And other cars sliding as they try to get around. Let's take a look at what happened to Bob Dice here. Just mentioning how easy it is to spin the tires while right on board. And he was just on throttle. He was on throttle even before he got down to the apex. And parked it into the wall here. Meanwhile, for 2nd place, Swenson and Lupfer. Do they work together, or do they kind of run it out from here? Is it a lost cause to try to chase down a 2.5 gap on Alessandrini?
Yeah, I think it's a lost cause at this point. Fighting in turn 6 and 7, that lost them a lot of time. And speaking of fighting, Andrew Abbott and also Austin Barnes going at it with this pack of cars.
Into turn 3, Abbott's going to peek out ahead for now, but he's got some big front-end damage. I think it'll make Barnes' life a little easier on the straightaway. Everyone off course at the exit of 3.
Ryan Carwell wasn't, and he's trying to take advantage. He's getting a slipstream off of Barnes, trying to find a line. Barnes on the block.
Swinging left and swinging right. Into turn 5 on the brakes. Barnes to the inside. Abbott's going to take the apex. Carwile out wide. Here comes McVicker in the 42 up the inside.
Everyone going for holes and opportunities where they present themselves.
Using every inch of the racetrack and then another half car width or so. Through turn 7 now.
Oh, look up at second place. These guys are
Oh,
side by side
goodness.
going to the carousel, coming up to the kink here, and they finally get sorted out.
Swenson right behind Lupfer. And lifting for the kink. Kind of catching the rumble strip with the right front tire to help it turn. And now the run down to Canada corner. They've given up on DJ. The fight for second. Igniting. Bit of a bump heading towards turn 12.
Yeah, Lupfer got a really poor run off of the kink, and here they go. Swenson's going to peel in behind Lupfer. Not going to have a look in Canada.
Austin Cobb trying to set up the 17. Meanwhile, back for 7th place. Abbott and Barnes still side by side. Behind them, Carwile, McVicker looking for room to pass. Barnes with a spectacular run. A missed shift. Missed shift for the 25.
Oh.
3 wide up towards turn
loses,
13.
And loses 4 spots in one small straightaway.
You got to be perfect. Coming back through turn 14 now. Going to try to take advantage of Jacob Price. As Price runs out a touch wide.
Up ahead of them for second. Into turn 1 side by side for second place.
White flag in the air one more time around. 4 miles. That's a long way. Swenson gets second place back, but I have a feeling it's not for long.
We're going to have a look down into turn 3. He's going to think better of it.
On throttle a little bit earlier than Swenson. Will have a good run towards turn 5. Meanwhile, for 7th spot, actually make that 8th spot, the battle continues. Carwile, McVicker, Price, Abbott, Nelson.
Up the inside.
Oh no! Price!
Around sideways.
He spins and he's out of it. For second place into turn 5. Swenson down the inside. Lupfer trying to roll the outside groove.
Yeah, these guys are battling hard, and I mean, if you look not too far back, you see a silver Red Bull car, and that's Tomo Gorman there fighting through the grass.
Tomo is coming quick. Was about a second and a half faster than those drivers last time through, and he's got enough time to get there if they hold each other up.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to hold each other up if the last lap and a half is anything to go by.
Will he take a look up the inside of the carousel? That's a tight place to make it stick, but I think he's going to take a run into Canada. That's really the last passing opportunity other than turn 14, but even 14 is kind of a lunge.
Well, it's a qualifying race, so they might as well try it.
But I would argue against that, though. I mean, yeah, it's only a qualifying race, but if you have to start in 50th, that's going to be a long night. Granted, it'll be more like 29th, but still. Swenson's got second, and no major battles. They kind of sorted themselves out, but Tomo's caught him. Lupfer with a run. Alessandrini is almost 5 seconds up the road. It's clean and green for him. He'll come on through and win this qualifier for second. Swenson and Lupfer. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Tomo out a little bit wide. Here comes Lupfer with a run out of turn 14.
But he lost a lot of momentum out of the corner. He's going to try and have a drag race with the 17 of Jeremy Swenson up the hill.
Here they come. Drag race to the line. Who's going to get there first? Swenson or Lupfer? I think Swenson's got enough. And yes, he'll cross the line first. Carwile and Barnes, same thing.
Well, Carwille's got a much better run on Barnes. Here they go, side by side at the bridge.
Here they come to the line. Door banging for 7th place. Carwile. Behind them, more cars side by side. I think that's all the major battles, but oh my goodness, was that a run of the line or what? Holy cow. What a race that was. Here's a look at your race results as we wait for the rest of the drivers to finish up here.
Yeah, that was a hard race to follow. There's a lot of battles going on at the front.
Yeah, especially in the top 10, top 15. And I know there was probably just as many good fights heading, the 20s and 30s, but you can only have so much camera time for anybody. Tomo with a 5th. Alessandrini going to start on pole. Again, this is only going to set the grid. No points assigned to this race. And for drivers like Bob Dice and Jorge Ortiz and Brandon Burke, they're going to have a much better time in race 2 as long as they can keep their cars going straighter than they were in race 1 tonight. So in just a couple minutes, we're going to go to break, and we're going to load up for race number 2, and that will count for points. So if you are in the league and haven't participated yet, make sure you do. And if you're sitting tight and watching, stay with us. We'll be back in about 5 to 6 minutes. Stay with us.
My father's father had 2 brothers and a sister. His older sister, Hazel, had married a man named Jim Yunker, and he was involved in the bottling business early on, as early as 1906 in Indianapolis, and he sold flavors. He would have had grape, cream soda, blood orange, ginger ale. In 1915, he got the franchise for Coca-Cola in Indianapolis. So then we fast forward 20 years later to 1935, Jim Yunker approached my grandfather and his 2 brothers and said the franchises in Kokomo, Logansport, and Peru are available for sale, and you guys want this. Trust me, you want to get in the Coca-Cola business.
To most, driving is just a mundane task between point A and point B. Nothing more. It's the frustration of traffic at 8 a.m. The feeling of sickness on a long ride. The car? Just a tool. It's supposed to be practical, reliable, and fast. But the speed is really the reason cars exist. Born out of a necessity to make that A to B trip just a little bit faster. Some have a deeper connection with cars, found somewhere in the bond of man and machine, a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's the extension of mind and body to something more exciting than just another appliance. And these people never cared about practicality or reliability. To them, the only thing that matters is speed. We're born with a competitive nature, part of a biological necessity that has not yet worn off with time. People have raced for thousands of years, and that competition has transcended history and found its way to the industrial age. Railroads raced to build across the country, replacing the horses whose strength is still used as a benchmark for power today. And as personal vehicles became popular, the railroads died off. What once was the quickest way across the country became snail's pace in comparison. The interstate highway system expanded and cars populated every driveway. And the competition between types of transport quickly transitioned into the race to have the fastest car. Bragging rights. Manufacturers like Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW emerged in auto racing, each trying to one-up the other. Building engines became an arms race. Who could build the fastest dinosaur-powered lens? So while the passion for cars has died for most, there are still people that are fascinated by racing. The sights, the sounds, the smell of burning rubber and spent race fuel lingering in the air, this is what attracts us to the sport of auto racing. We are empowered by drivers that climb in impossibly fast cars and put everything on the line for the sake of competition. Drivers who know that one slip-up can lead to disaster. And for the longest time, wishing to be a race car driver was just a childhood dream. All we could ever be was a spectator. Opportunities? Limited and expensive. Reserved only for the who's who of the racing world. Until now. Welcome back live to Sim TV. My name's Kyle Heyer with Finney and Acuna tonight for the conclusion of the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup from Road America. Race 1 was the qualifier. It was DJ Alessandrini, as usual, on top of the board, but it wasn't quite so easy as we've seen it in the past, Finian.
Yeah, it really wasn't, and we saw that he was only really able to get, Alessandrini was only really able to get away at the later stages of the race once the guys started battling each other. I thought that he was honestly just going to drive away and the other guys couldn't keep up with him. And even the same thing for Tom Gordon, even he struggled to actually get up to that second group. So now we have these guys kind of reset here for the first of 2 point-stealing races. We'll see how the field lines up going to turn 1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be key. Their finishing position in race 1 matters a whole lot more than these guys usually give it credit for, because if you start in 30th in race 2, you're not going to win the race. You might be able to get from 20th or something, but if you're 30th on back, I mean, Robert Hartley, Alessandrini, and Swenson could probably pull that off. Nobody else could. I mean, that's that tall of a task. It's very difficult to do. Anyway, Bradley Adams is probably thrilled that he gets to reset his rear end after having it hanging out like a 12-year-old wiener dog, but he's got that sorted out. And somewhere on track, we're trying to find out where he is. There he is. Much better looking than it was before. And funnily enough, he's got dog on the side of his car, albeit I think it's a hot dog, but same thing. Wiener dog. I didn't know that was there, first of all. So, do I get like a Golden Globe or whatever? What's the award? I don't know what the award is that you get. A Grammy? What's the one?
Grammy's music.
Okay, well,
I don't know what you're talking about. Which one?
Whatever.
There's a lot of
I give
awards.
up. Never mind.
The Oscars, the Emmys.
What's the one that Bill Nye gives you?
Bill Nye. Bill Nye gives you an award?
I don't know. Does he?
I don't know.
For science predictions and okay, whatever. We're off this.
Nobel Peace Prize?
Does Bill Nye give out the Nobel Peace Prize?
I have no clue. Maybe.
All right, Buchanan, and new livery on the 40 for this round, and I think it's some kind of airline or something.
Yeah, let me look at the side of this.
These Project 2 teams usually have some kind of air-based livery. Roll out
This
of
is Canada Post on it. It's not an airline.
Well, close enough. It's like an airline, but on the ground. So it's just a line.
I want to frame that quote. It's like an airline, but on.
It took us until race 3 to get like this last week. I don't want to have this to devolve into chaos again. You're gonna wipe them on the floor this week again?
Yeah.
Oh man, why do people watch this nonsense?
I don't know. It's probably gonna get worse considering I've been up since 2 in the morning.
Oh good. Why have you been up since 2?
Because I went to sleep at like 9, so I woke up at 2.
Well, that wasn't very smart.
Sleep.
I'll
No,
say
it wasn't.
that. Well, I was referencing Max Loop for driving off into turn 1 at 130, but waking up at going to bed at what did you say? I was distracted.
I went to bed at 9, woke up at 2.
That's irresponsible.
Yeah, I mean, I got sleep. Sort of.
Oh man. Well, Swenson getting some blocking practice in. I think that's Austin Barnes in behind him. So warm-up is complete and time to go racing for the second time tonight, this time for points. Predictions.
DJ's gonna win.
Okay, another prediction.
Tom's gonna win.
You're not very exciting.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to think of the most boring prediction.
Well, that's... All right. Well, heading down to the racetrack and taking a look at the field we've got. Lupfer in third. I like where he's starting, Finian right behind the leader. A good run down to turn 1.
And I'm really interested in seeing where a lot of those guys you saw battling in race 1, Swenson, Lupfer, Cobb, those guys put up a great fight. I'm curious if we'll see that pretty much spill over into this race. And if they are going to fight with each other, will they be able to stick with Alessandrini and even Tom Gordon, or will they drive off into the distance like they did in the first race?
So, waiting for DJ to grid up here, but most of the rest of the field is ready to go racing. And this time we are 41 cars strong. Peter Zhang all the way at the tail of the field. And he could still go to pit lane if he wanted to. He's that far back. That's a sinking feeling. As the lights are red, waiting for the green ones, it's DJ Alessandrini in command of the points and the race. Here we go. Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup. The points racing is green. Three wide, back for about 7th place as they scramble down towards turn 1. They're 4 wide, almost in the background.
Yeah, everyone piling off into the corner. Austin Cobb, awful start for him. He's immediately back in around 10th position. So he's going to have to try to work his way back up. Meanwhile, DJ leading everyone else down to turn 3.
Yeah, the starts haven't been good for Cobb so far. And he's been struggling with that quite a bit. Meanwhile, down into turn 3, everyone else trying to get through here without incident. So far, so good. No major accidents.
Tom O'Gorman with the run on Looper. This is for 3rd place now. O'Gorman trying to get up there to fight with DJ. Didn't get an opportunity to in the last race. Here's his shot now.
Yeah, they're pretty even on an overall pace we saw in practice. So if Tomo can get up to 2nd, he'd be a threat to win this thing. On the brakes into turn 5 behind him. Andrew Abbott really late on the brakes. Almost got into the side of Dan McVicker. Cobb runs out wide. A big struggle for the 36 on the green flag here.
Yeah, it's going to be key for him to try to get back up to the guys he was fighting with. He's had the pace, but now he's lost that track position.
The rest of the field still streaming on through. I haven't seen a single car out sideways yet. I'm sure that someone's going to prove me wrong here very shortly, but so far so good.
I was looking to try to prove you wrong, but yeah, no one has gone off the track. Everyone's still running.
Well, okay, some drivers have gone off the track, but they just haven't spun out yet.
Yeah, there's been no major incidents.
Zach Buchanan's got a big hole punch to the nose of his number 40, but thankfully it won't matter a whole lot as he clears Brennan Burke for 27th.
Jeremy Swenson just went for a wild ride off the carousel, had 4 wheels out on the grass, almost went sideways into the wall, but corrected.
Ride one, Gil Winningham's Ford Accord through the kink as he's got 32 drivers in front of him. I guess we'll have a pretty good idea if everyone makes it through the kink. Don't see anyone off still. Very impressed so far. If we can get through lap 1 with 41 cars at Road America with not a single off, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, for the most part, as everyone's heading to the final complex of corners.
Oh, I think we might have had one spin. No, we're still, wow, everyone kept it straight. 1 lap of Road America with 41 Mustangs. Spin free.
See if these guys can keep it up. I see Tom O'Gorman trying to find make a pass on Jeremy Swenson.
Wasn't able to complete it deeper in the field. Andrew Lanning, whoa, this is going to get dicey. Kevin Glass is going to go for a spin down in turn 1. Off in the kitty litter. Going to try to get back on course with a whole group of cars behind him.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. The rejoins are really sketchy as Jeremy Lucas is around in turn 3 actually collects someone.
He's off slightly. Max Toyer in the 944 to the inside of Stephen Pruden as they race down into 5.
Yeah, this is really a true test of how far into the corner really to get in the brakes.
That was deep for Toyer, and here comes Brad Adams going to try to shove his way up the inside.
Oh, they're almost 3 wide into turn 6. This is not going to work.
No, and they're going to have to single it out. Someone just chucked it up the inside. It was Patrick Gallagher, 2 with 1 stone into turn 6.
Yep. Usually that's not a passing opportunity, but he made it one.
And Pruden and Abbott banging doors as they head down to 8. Tomo slipped to 5th in the background. As Austin Barnes, Lupfer have gone through. Swenson still riding the coattails of Alessandrini, but losing touch with them. He's 6/10 up the road.
Yeah, Gorman had a bad run off in turn 3, and he's been far back, and he's also in
the
grass along with Barnes.
Holy cow, they both went way wide in the kink. Onto the brakes. Still remarkably, very few incidents Tomo with a run on Barnes. He's going to sit on it for now. Maybe we try to work together with this 51 to go catch Lupfer and Swenson.
I think he's going to have to. He just doesn't really have much of a choice for these guys to work together. As soon as they start battling, he's going to let the top 3 break away.
And it just takes forever, even with this 350 or so horsepower V8 Ford Mustang engine. The straightaways are just so expansive. And they'll be doing about $135 at the end of the front straight. Andrew Rasmussen is side by side with, that's James Tack in the 43, and they'll both get that sorted out by turn 1. Oh, Michael Shea in the 78, trying to overtake Gil Winningham in the 81. And started 28th. He's exactly 28th. That's almost really impressive, actually, with this many cars in the field to be exactly where he started. It's pretty hard to do. You'd think you'd gain or lose at least one spot. Oh, and there's one.
Yeah.
Bob Dice in the 30. Oh, that's not Bob Dice. It's Nathan Schlavine in that chrome number 48.
Yeah, does a lazy spin off of turn 3. Doesn't anything, gets it collected.
O'Gorman's gotten by Barnes for 4th up the road. Lupfer's all over Swenson for 2nd.
Yeah, and Swenson had a slip up in turn 6. He's going to let Lupfer on by.
Yeah, it might have been a smart decision, actually. I think Lupfer's a little bit quicker than Jeremy, so they might have a chance to go run down DJ, but it's still pretty hard work.
Yeah, the same thing kind of happened what happened in the first race. Allison Green started to get a little bit of a lead now, and they're losing a little bit of the draft. So they got to start working together now, otherwise Allison Green's going to set off like he did earlier.
Nick Nelson following Eric Pennington in the 35 into the kink. And these cars, it's a slight lift, jump on the brakes for a second to get the nose rotated in, then right back on throttle to carry this 3,600-pound Mustang through that corner.
Yeah, big unspoken thing that's kind of hard to deal with is being right behind the driver in front of you going through the kink. You can't really see your markers, so you have to kind of guess where you are and where to lift off.
Whoa!
Whoa!
McVicker gets turned up and over on his side for a moment and turned around right in the middle of the racetrack with half the field coming.
Caught some air with that.
Sure did, and is going to lose about a dozen spots in the process. Oh, Tom O'Gorman, he's around in turn 14. Spun out.
Oh, no.
And he gets back rolling, but he's going to lose about 10 spots himself. And maybe more because of how long the straightaway is. That's a bad spot to spin all by himself. Gets on the curb and loops it. No damage, but big loss of position. Back to 16th. Meanwhile, for second, Lupfer and Swenson still debating who's quicker there. Then it's Barnes, Abbott, and Cobb.
Yeah, the funny thing you say about that is that Swenson just came on the radio and said he's going to try to work with Max to catch up the DJ, so they're going to work together.
Even still, you mentioned how difficult it is to follow somebody because it's difficult to see your marks. It's also difficult for another reason. These cars have ABS, and I don't really like their ABS, to be totally honest with you. You have to pretty much push the pedal all the way to the floor to get the maximum braking performance out of this car. So it means if you miss your braking point, there's no more brakes. You can't lock them in an emergency. You're just going to run into the guy. I prefer to drive race cars without ABS for that reason, at least with an iRacing. Once you go to the pedal, Finian, you have no emergency braking power. You've used everything that you have.
Looking at Austin Barnes, he went off the track for a little bit. That's allowed Abbott and also Cobb now to get on by.
This is for 4th. Checking in on Zach Buchanan, who started towards the tail of the field. And he went from 35th up to 21st, so a good climb forward. And now remember, race 3 is gridded by the results of race 2 with the top 10 inverted. Abbott and Cobb and Barnes, I don't think these guys have totally figured out who wants to lead this group yet.
Yeah, I think they're kind of more focused on themselves. I think they're kind of giving up on the battle for the lead. They're more worried about themselves. Cobb deep into Canada.
Oh, too deep.
He's going to go off track.
Yeah, way too deep for him. Off into the kitty litter again.
That's what you're talking about. He missed his braking point. He was trying to brake late. Unfortunately, couldn't give it more brakes, and he saw him go off the track.
Yeah, big fight for, I think that's 12th. LD Pietro, Brad Adams, Andrew Rasmussen. Actually, this is for 11th. Whole group of cars as they head up through 13. That's about 6.
Yeah, 2x2 wide down into the final corner.
And Adams on the inside, DPH on the outside, and Jacob Price, nowhere for him to go. And here comes Patrick Gallagher. He's just been sending it the whole night. And look who's here, Tom O'Gorman.
Yeah, O'Gorman trying to make up some spots. He's got to be careful here. A lot can go wrong in this pack.
Look at the speed climb as they cross the line in full draft. 126, 130, 133, 135, 137, 138 into the brakes. Adams gets tapped.
Adams gets hit.
Oh, they're going to spin. He spun out to the inside. But Tom makes it through and continues.
Yeah, Gallagher and O'Gorman are rubbing fenders with each other through turns 2 and into 3.
Tomo trying to fight his way back inside the top 10. Remember, 10th spot, which is where Andrew Rasmussen is right up the road. This is a very important spot because that is the pole for race number 3. If anybody can catch him, that would be a very good way to improve your third race.
Yeah, they got about 2.5 more laps to be able to do it, which is, I think, within range for O'Gorman to try to reach, so that would be big for him.
Yeah, I think Tom's probably the most likely to get there if anybody can get there, but he's got to... Oh, behind him, another car around. That's Bob Casera, turn 5. And gets back rolling. Austin Barnes, Andrew Abbott, and Cobb still fighting for fourth.
Yeah, Barnes is trying to make him move up the inside of the 25 and down to the carousel to go side by side.
Riding on board with Austin Cobb right now. Look at them banging doors, trading paint.
Yeah, great move for Barnes, and here comes Cobb taking advantage of it.
Abbott going to try to run the crossover, but Cobb clears the the 25 car as they make the run to Canada. Andrew Lanning, Jacob Price, 15th place in contention here. And just in front of them is Patrick Gallagher and Tom O'Gorman. This is a fight for 11th. We're gonna have...
Yeah, they both made really quick work of Rasmussen. He's already dropped back in behind him, so now O'Gorman and Gallagher are going to be fighting essentially for pole in race 3.
Well, James Tack is the pole sitter right now. As he sits in 10th, he's a couple seconds up the road from these other drivers. So that's a long gap to make up in about what will be 2 laps. But I still think Tom can get there. It's a long way, but maybe with a little bit of luck.
I have Gallagher listed in 10th.
Oh, yes, you're right. Ida Waxman was in the pits. So you're right. This is the battle for 10th.
Oh, and O'Gorman's going in, dooring each other through turn 1. I think they know what's on stake here.
Very important spot. 10th place. Gallagher crosses over. Tomo gets a good run. And Rasmussen sitting in line. Is he going to help somebody or be selfish?
I think he might sit a little bit passively in behind these guys, maybe wait for them to make a mistake. He just doesn't look on pace with them.
Cobb gets by Barnes and Abbott for 4th place as the rest of the drivers head down into 5. Gallagher's really quick right now, Finney. Oh, they're going to collide, and Tomo gets shoved off to the right. Is there steering damage? No.
Yeah, these guys have rubbed fenders quite a bit so far, and they're still side by side down into turn 7.
Oh, we're not done yet. Lupfer and Swenson are trading spots in the carousel, but our fight, or what we're watching right now, is the battle for 10th. Gallagher and Tom O'Gorman, they've been side by side for half the lap.
They're still side by side. It looks like O'Gorman's going to give this spot for now. And also to Rasmussen, he's up the inside now in the carousel.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure this out, though, because they have really 2 passing opportunities left. Canada corner and the final corner, turn 14. And you want to be in Tom's position right now as Rasmussen gets a little slidey into the kink. No, they're going to stay single file. Next time by will be white flag for leader DJ Alessandrini. He's 4 seconds up the road from Lupfer, Swenson, Cobb, Barnes, Abbott, and more. Canada corner for Gallagher and Tomo.
Fantastic fight between these guys side by side for most of the lap.
Pole position for race 3 is a lap away for Patrick Gallagher. Can he hold off IMSA competitor Tom O'Gorman for 4 more miles? Andrew Lanning creeping into the picture as well.
Yeah, and again, this is really
he gets taken out behind him. Lanning gets turned at the exit of turn 14 and spins. He's going to lose all the spots he just gained, and he's also got the rear end of that thing knocked out.
Yeah, and a tough break for him as he was looking to finish fairly solid in this race as well.
Yeah, got the wheel turned 90 degrees to the right. No luck there. Tomo gets by Gallagher for 10th with a deep dive. Gallagher's going to cross him back over.
Gallagher looking for the spot to the outside now, going to turn 3.
Ran him off into the grass just a touch. No battle for the lead right now. It's for 10th. This will be pole in race 3. Lupfer and Swenson contesting second. It's Swenson that has it for now. Lupfer's going to use the bumper on him in turn 6.
Yeah, already got a little bit physical with them in turn 5. It looks like Lupfer lost a little bit of drive off.
O'Gorman and Gallagher again banging doors into turn 5. Gallagher's out wide. Tomo's going to get through. That might be it.
Not quite clear Gallagher. We've seen Gallagher really be able to wheel his car. He might be able to make that gap up.
2 miles left for Tom O'Gorman to get pole for race 3. For second place, it's Swenson and Lupfer up front. Alessandrini 5 seconds up the road. No challenge there, but for second, it's a hornet's nest.
Yeah, it really is. And Lupfer's got the draft now that he's going to try to use again. Swenson's a sitting duck.
Into the kink. Swenson chucks the car in, slides over the curb, out to the exit.
Where's Lupfer going to go? This is pretty much his last major passing opportunity other than the final corner itself.
Lupfer waiting to pull the trigger. Apex is a little early, gets into the dirt. Alessandrini leading the points. No challenge there. He's going to come through turn 14, head up the hill to win the first race of the night. Swenson and Lupfer, nose to tail. Lupfer deep on the brakes into turn 14. Going to be another run to the checkers.
No, not
quite.
He's
He's
gonna
wide.
hang it out and not going to get it. He just lost all his drive off. It's not going to be enough.
Alessandrini comes on through. He wins it at Road America. For second, Swenson's going to get it done. Lupfer, Cobb, and Barnes, your top 5. Abbott for 6th. How about Pennington and Tack for 7th? But for
Tack
pole,
trying to get a run on Pennington. He has a little bit of it up the hill.
not quite enough, though. Tom O'Gorman is going to be your pole sitter for race number 3. Hard-fought recovery after his turn 14 spin. How about Zach Buchanan chasing Brendan Abbott up the hill? Buchanan started in 35th. He made it up half the grid to 17th.
Yeah, that's a really solid job. I'm interested in seeing how well he does in race 3 with the same pace he showed in this race.
Great race. That was probably one of the best races I think I've seen the Grid Life iRacers group do. Minimum of contact, a maximum of good racing. Here's a look at your race results. No lead changes. DJ led it from flag to flag, but what a race behind him.
Yeah, and I think he's going to have a fight on his hands now for the next race with probably, I would argue, one of his main rivals, Tom O'Gorman, going to be starting up on pole. He's going to be back in 10th, but I imagine he's going to definitely get up at least 3rd place by the first few laps.
Yeah, race 3, again, based on the finishing order that you're looking at right now, that's your grid, except take the top 10, flip them around backwards. So it'll be Tom O'Gorman on pole, Nick Nelson in 2nd, then James Tack, Eric Pennington, Abbott, Barnes, Cobb, Lupfer, Swenson, and Alessandrini, your top 10 starters for race number 3. How about that? That was good stuff.
Yeah, that was a really good race. These guys did a fantastic job. Very few incidents, as we were saying earlier.
In just a couple minutes, we're going to be back live for the final race of the season for the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup. It's been 4 rounds. It's been, let's see, 3 times 4, 12. It's been 11 races. And we've got one more left to do. Stick with us. We'll be back in about 6 minutes. most, driving is just a mundane task between point A and point B. Nothing more. It's the frustration of traffic at 8 a.m., the feeling of sickness on a long ride. The car? Just a tool. It's supposed to be practical, reliable, and fast. But the speed is really the reason cars exist, born out of a necessity to make that A to B trip just a little bit faster. Some have a deeper connection with cars, found somewhere in the bond of man and machine, a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's the extension of mind and body to something more exciting than just another appliance. And these people never cared about practicality or reliability. To them, the only thing that matters is speed. We're born with a competitive nature, part of a biological necessity that is not yet worn off with time. People have raced for thousands of years, and that competition has transcended history and found its way to the industrial age. Railroads raced to build across the country, replacing the horses whose strength is still used as a benchmark for power today. And as personal vehicles became popular, the railroads died off. What once was the quickest way across the country became snail's pace in comparison. The interstate highway system expanded and cars populated every driveway. And the competition between types of transport quickly transitioned into the race to have the fastest car. Bragging rights. Manufacturers like Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW emerged in auto racing, each trying to one-up the other. Building engines became an arms race. Who could build the fastest dinosaur-powered Lancer? So while the passion for cars has died for most, there are still people that are fascinated by racing. The sights, the sounds, the smell of burning rubber and spent race fuel lingering in the air, this is what attracts us to the sport of auto racing. We are empowered by drivers that climb in impossibly fast cars and put everything on the line for the sake of competition. Drivers who know that one slip-up can lead to disaster. And for the longest time, wishing to be a race car driver was just a childhood dream. All we could ever be was a spectator. Opportunities? Limited and expensive. Reserved only for the who's who of the racing world. Until now. Welcome back to the Grid Life iRacers season finale for the Crowd Control Cup from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin at Road America. Our first two races of the night, the qualifier and the first of 2 points races, have already elapsed. It's time now for the final race of the season. Vinny and DJ Alessandrini has all but locked up the championship, but when you take a look at where he's going to start in this race, he'll be 10th. Tom O'Gorman, his arch nemesis here when it comes to Road America, will be starting in first. How do you think this race is going to go?
I think it's going to be pretty exciting. I imagine that DJ probably could care less about the championship. I think he's more focused on now trying to set his sights on Tom O'Gorman up in front and try to chase him down. Because I think, again, if you're looking at practice time, both these guys are 5/10 up over the next driver's third on back. So we definitely know that those two guys are probably the fastest in the race. We've pretty much seen that in both races. DJ winning both the first 2 races of the night, and with O'Gorman kind of struggling back in traffic, but now he's got cleaner up in front. We'll be able to see now what he can do with it.
Taking one more look at our track map tonight, and so far, turn 1, usually this place is kind of calamity corner on starts, but race 2 didn't really have too bad of a start, honestly. Saw a couple cars off in the gravel trap, but nothing major in terms of accidents. Then turns 2 and 3, generally you're using them to set up towards turn 5, but 515 has also been a relatively low carnage area compared to what we probably expected.
Yeah, I think from this race, from what I've noticed, if anything, the trouble spots have been turn 3, turn 8 right before the carousel, and also Canada Corner, which Canada Corner kind of usually is such a heavy braking zone like that.
I've also noticed turn 14 being kind of a trouble spot tonight in terms of spinning out, which is the final corner in the middle of your screen right now. But again, a 4-mile racetrack, you get about 7 laps in these 15-minute races. How do you think this is going to be different from the previous races in terms of how it races? I mean, is there anybody in here that is going to race differently than before, or is this just going to be the same thing, different time?
Well, DJ is definitely going to be racing differently from before because he doesn't have the lead to really, take away and just focus on driving away. He's got to navigate through a little bit of traffic to get back up towards the front. And easier said than done because, at this point, I would say those guys have pretty much earned their places up at the top of the field. And even, too, in the last race, Patrick Gallagher, you saw that he was pretty good. Unfortunately, he was trying to fight 2 start on pole. He's going to be starting in 11th. He's got quite a bit of pace and shown to be a wheelman. Yeah,
Gallagher, obviously, that's a name that I really don't recognize as being up here quite a whole lot, but he had a spectacular race, too, fighting Tom O'Gorman and ended up losing that fight, but he'll be starting 11th right behind, our season points leader and race 1 and 2 winner, DJ Alessandrini. So, waiting for the field to grid up, this time only 36 strong, but still plenty of race cars for our final race of the Winter Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup season. Again, you're watching SimTV. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you do to catch more seasons of Grid Life and other league race events here on iRacing. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the join button to help support us at 3 different levels to help support not only our ventures in sim racing, but also the real world with Grid Life Touring Cup this season. 3 different levels, emojis, exclusive content, and more. Make sure you check it out. Here we go. Tom O'Gorman, Nick Nelson, first and second. Will they finish this way? 15 minutes from Elkhart Lake for the final time this season. Green flag flies and racing in Road America. Rewind in the background. I think that's Brandon Abbott off on the inside, or maybe it might be. Is it Andrew or Brandon in the red car in the background? I think it's Brandon Abbott as we head down to turn 1.
Oh, and a car sideways into the grass. That is Andrew Abbott, but he actually collects it back, almost letting Alessandrini. Could have been disastrous up at the start, but still, guys, 3 wide heading down to turn 3.
So far, so good. James Tack works his way into second. Look at this. Zach Buchanan in the middle of a 3-wide situation. He went from 35th to 17th, already up to P15 as they exit turn 3 and the run down to turn 5.
Yeah, and it's a mess for second place. Tom O'Gorman already starting to break away from the rest of the pack. Nick Nelson fighting James Tack for that second spot.
Down into 5, hard on the brakes, ABS enabled, pedals vibrating underfoot. Contact, the 14's gonna spin right into the middle of the racetrack. He gets it collected, now back into the track. And this is gonna be bad. Multiple cars.
All big wrecks down in the back of the field, but many cars involved throughout.
Zach Buchanan made it through up to 12th. So he was actually able to take advantage of that situation as they saw a whole bunch of cars get turned off the course there. Andrew Abbott in the 25 on the brakes behind DJ up to 6th.
DJ currently sitting in 5th, but you can see the gap for Tom O'Gorman. He's already put a big gap between himself and Swenson.
This is almost a done deal. If he can just run away like this, it'll be easy peasy lemon squeezy for the driver in the 94.
And the driver in the 1, DJ Alessandrini, making a pass on Nick Nelson in
Whoa.
the King.
Nelson runs a touch wide. Alessandrini up to P4. Austin Barnes slow through the kink. And whoa, Stephen Pruden, an aggressive move to the inside. It's not going to work. Into the fence. Nathan Schlavine, his car, basically looking like a soda can all crumpled up in the nose there, and he's got Andrew Rasmussen behind. Jorge Ortiz, Vito Waxman, who had trouble in race 1. But Tom O'Gorman's going to lead lap number 1. And 2.3 seconds, but will that gap remain the same way over Jeremy Swenson?
I think it might. Well, I don't think it'll remain the same. I think if anything, it might expand. As O'Gorman put a massive gap to the rest of the field already, I can't imagine how much more that's going to expand.
I don't know. Swenson's pretty quick. I don't think this is totally done yet. Pennington defending from 2 drivers behind him, Jacob Price and Nick Nelson in matching paint schemes.
Yeah, Nelson on the outside, and it's going to be Jacob Price on the inside down into turn 3.
Hugging the curbs on the inside, swinging wide on corner exit. Here comes Patrick Gallagher in the number 27 up to 9th.
Gonna get a nice run on Jacob Price down towards turn 5.
Andrew Lanning and Zach Buchanan in the number 40, looking from behind.
Here, 3 wide down into turn 5. Ooh, some contact.
Oh, and Zach's gonna swing it to the left and hang on to it with a wild bucking Bronco, and climbs up towards turn 6 now. I'm gonna take the inside on Lanning. A little tight there, gets pinched. Straightened out, they'll continue.
Yeah, with a little bit of contact with Lanning. And also some damage to Buchanan. Jacob Price trying to build up a run on Buchanan down into turn 8.
Steering looks relatively straight, but the aggressive maneuvers have gotten the 40 up to 9th. Vinny, and that gap is closing. At least it did for a moment. Tomo was 2.1 ahead of Swenson, but Alessandrini's not that far behind. He's closing on Lupfer.
Yeah, second, third, and fourth are all kind of closing and converging in on each other.
Like,
we've seen Looper and Swenson be a factor all night as well as Allison.
Yeah, it's like an accordion effect. Meanwhile, Buchanan's still trying to hold off Jacob Price as they race down to Canada.
And Buchanan with a run on Nick Nelson. He's going to have an edge on him down to Canada corner. Deep on the brakes.
Oh, man, this is going to get tight. And Buchanan's on through to 8th. Big slide over the rumble strips.
And now Nelson and Price side by side with also Lanning waiting in the wing. Up ahead, though, for third place, Alessandrini making a pass on Lupfer.
Lupfer under attack from Alessandrini. There's a big hornet's nest for about 8th place. We're going to take you back there in a moment. But first, for third. A pinch. Lupfer still has the spot. Alessandrini up the inside, still down to turn 3. Contact.
Looks like Alessandrini's going to wrestle his way and get that spot for third. And like you said, the gap has been slowly dropping between Swenson and O'Gorman, but still kind of maintaining.
Yeah, 2.0 now as they head into 5. On the brakes, Lupfer backs off of Alessandrini into the braking zone. DJ a little bit deep. No, actually apexes quite nicely. Bit of a slip up on exit. Drags the tires off the edge of the curb and back on the course. Buchanan still got Price and Nelson in behind, as well as approaching Austin Barnes. So 8th place, still not done yet.
Yeah, and even Austin Cobb has kind of joined the fray. We know Cobb has the pace of a top 5 car, but he's going to have to work through some traffic. So this is another interesting battle working out here with in behind Buchanan.
Tomo did not have a good turn 8 complex. He's lost some time. It's a 1.6 second group back to Jeremy Swenson. He is closing, and he's got plenty of time to get there, catching him at that pace. Meanwhile, Jacob Price all over the injured number 40.
Yeah, everyone is trying to build up a run through the carousel down towards the King.
Buchanan goes defensive. Price to the outside, gonna get pinched.
Here comes Jacob Price with the run. Buchanan kind of a sitting duck. Buchanan going defensive, defending the inside line into Canada corner.
Brakes red hot on the 0-2. But Buchanan hangs on. Great defensive driving. Oh, Barnes and Nelson are going to get hooked together. And Lanning, big slide out of Canada corner, but hangs on tight for that.
Yeah, Cobb working around the outside of Barnes. Comes to the final few corners in the grass.
Lanning slow, but had to slow down there to give up some time, and he's dropped back down to 16th place. Big scramble out of the exit, and it's Nick Nelson with a big slide, and looks like Brennan Abbott's going to get around him. Meanwhile, for the top spot, Tomo 1.2 over Swenson. Alessandrini 8/10 back. This is going to be a race, folks.
Yeah, it definitely is. And once Swenson catches a little bit of that draft, it's going to get only smaller and smaller, especially with DJ now starting to bring down Swenson's neck.
Alessandrini's brake rotors, they'll be glowing red hot here momentarily as he's chasing down the 21.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised with this. I thought O'Gorman would have been able to at least maintain the gap, but slowly but surely it has been falling.
Tom's been busy the past couple weeks, was down in Daytona for the Roar Before the 24, then was out in Florida for some time, and a lot of these drivers have had weeks of practice that Tom didn't have, so the fact that he's hanging on this long is pretty good. Meanwhile, there's a calamity, I believe that's turn 3, and Brandon Burke, and I believe that is Peter Zhang pulling away from that accident zone. Here's a look at this accident. Burke a little deep on the brakes and understeered into the side of the 30. Buchanan slips back to 9th. Price has gotten around him. Cobb in 10th.
Yeah, Buchanan's been doing an excellent job considering this thing has been really struggling on the straightaways.
It looks like it's had its jaw ripped off by a fox. It's just not running very well right now, Finney. The nose is a little destroyed. Austin Cobb to the inside into the kink. This has got to be hurting the straightaway speed on this number 40.
Yeah, that's exactly how Price has been able to get by, and you can see even as he's trying to get any sort of slipstream up of Price, he's not getting anything, and Cobb's now ready to pass him.
Onto the brakes for Canada corner. Little wide at the corner exit. Cobb's got to run. He's going to swing left. Contact. Buchanan out way deep in the grass. Going to wrestle it back on course.
He's still got a hole in and still be side by side, have an advantage down into the final corner. Fantastic driving.
Oh man, this is going to get dicey. Contact again, and they're going to get hooked together. While these guys continue to bang door to door for second place, Swenson and Alessandrini duking it out for second. Buchanan and Barnes now fighting for 11th.
Barnes trying to make a passing opportunity, couldn't really get it done. Buchanan's going to have to slot in behind Cobb. But up for second place now, Swenson with Alessandrini trying to respond.
Cobbs goes out in turn 3, gonna get just kind of nudged off course. Buchanan gets passed by Barnes and by Brennan Abbott down the straightaway. You mentioned Swenson gets shuffled back to 3rd. Now the question becomes, can DJ run down Tom in 2.5 laps? I think he's got plenty of time.
Curious what O'Gorman's going to be up to defending-wise to keep Alessandrini at bay. He's definitely not going to give this up without a fight.
Well, he just ran out wide, so he's given everything he's got already. These 3, actually these 4, you can include Lutfer, have just been the best of the best in this particular series. We're back to Circuit of the Americas. Lupfer pulled out a couple seconds. Tom's won a couple races. DJ's won a bunch of races. Swenson's been in the mix almost every single race. And now all 4 of them, really, the top 3 are going to be in contention with 2 laps to go next time by.
Yeah, now Zandrini already starting to pull big on the straightaways with a nice run out of the kink. And he is pretty much there.
Cobb and Buchanan getting back together. These two have been kind of aggressive with each other. More contact between these two for 11th.
Yeah, these guys are definitely not happy with each other. Something big might happen down into Canada Corner. We'll have to see here.
We'll take you back to the lead if it becomes imminent. Cannon's got the spot for now. Does he slip on corner exit? No, he'll hang on. Two laps to go for the leaders.
Yeah, this race for the lead starting to heat up as well, with Algeria drafting all the way up to O'Gorman, now right to his back bumper.
DJ's there. Can he get past the IMSA driver?
We'll see here. O'Gorman's going to be a sitting duck down heading into turn 5. All Sabini has to do is get a nice run off this corner.
Long back straightaway to use that draft on these cars. DJ's won everything there is to win in iRacing. But beating Tom O'Gorman is a special achievement. Into the brakes. Swenson's here as well. He's kind of fought his way back into the party.
Yeah, I'm curious what Swenson's going to do. If he's going to try to sit in behind Alex Virginia, wait for him to make an opportunity, or will he try to pass both these guys before they can do anything?
DJ was a little hot into 6, but so was Tomo on exit loop for all sorts of out of shape through turn 6. Gets it collected, but 3-way battle for the lead with a lap and a half left.
Yeah, I think that's the slide from Looper that kind of takes him out of the battle, at least for now.
Oh, trouble. Down in turn 5, it's Buchanan. And the 36 of Austin Cobb, but I wonder if these guys were involved or was something else entirely. Oh, no.
No, it was actually something else.
It was something else. Was that Nick Nelson?
I think so.
Yeah, they get together and they all spin and collide at the exit of the corner. We're going to take you back up live, though, because our leaders are getting mighty close. 3/10 separate first from second and from second from third.
Yeah, all nose to tail drafting off of one another.
DJ's so good on the brakes. In a car where it feels like you're trying to stop an aircraft carrier. And now Alessandrini brings his Mustang from 10th to 2nd. Gonna go for the lead in turn 14, backs out of it.
Yeah, I think he's trying to spook O'Gorman out of it. And here they come up the hill for the final time. We're coming up to the white flag.
White flag in the air, 4 miles left of the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup. Swenson following these two leaders. Alessandrini pushing Tom O'Gorman. He takes a defensive line on the front straightaway.
Yeah, I'm curious if DJ may try to pull out here. Look to the outside in turn 1. Both of them coming back over to the left side of the track into the corner.
Oh, maybe could have been a little bit of contact there. Maybe just an itty bitty bit. Out of turn 1 now. Brakes. Early for the 1, late for the 94. Run onto the back straight towards turn 5. Best passing opportunity there is.
Yeah, DJ got a fantastic run out of that corner here, all for this run down towards turn 5. This is a great passing opportunity. There he goes, side by side for the lead.
Silver and blue Red Bull cars drag racing down towards turn 5. Alessandrini's got the outside. Tomo's got the preferred line. Braking zone.
Gorman's going to win that fight.
Turn 6. Leaning almost on each other through that section. Back up to 3rd gear. Now to 4th.
And all 3 of them giving it their all taking a little bit of grass on exit.
Turn 8 now. Contact. Tomo gets a shove. Alessandrini sees an opportunity.
Oh,
DJ's going to get turned.
Into him.
Alessandrini gets turned around. Tomo sees clear racetrack ahead.
And now Looper's taking advantage of that. He's side by side with Swenson for 2nd place. This could be it.
Side by side for 2nd place. Door slamming, paint trading, heading towards the king.
Someone has to give here, but neither one wants to.
Side by side through the kink at 125 miles an hour, now towards Canada corner. Tomo's free and clear. For second, it's a battle.
It's still a battle. Luther clear for now. For Swenson has a look up the inside in Canada corner. Just
oh
gets to the
man!
inside.
2 corners left for second. For Tom O'Gorman. Didn't have the practice of the other drivers around him, but didn't need it. He's going to come out of turn 14 and he'll drive up towards the checkered flag. For second place, Lupfer in the 688. Second's all he could do this season, but Swenson can't get back. Tom O'Gorman's going to win at Road America. Lupfer and Swenson will round out the podium.
Yeah, a solid fight amongst all 4 of them. And meanwhile in the back, Andrew Abbott and TJ Alessandrini fighting
to the line.
for the spot.
Alessandrini's got it. By 18 thousandths of a second. Barnes and Lanning now drag racing up to the front straight.
Lanning trying to build up a run. Barnes with some damage. Here comes Lanning now.
Swings to the right. Pinches into the fence. They collide. Barnes gets there first. Lanning in 10th. And they all collide at the checkers. 4 cars coming on through. But Tom O'Gorman's the one that gets it done. Wow, what a race.
Yeah, how about that? And I'm amazed that DJ was able to still recover for 4th. They're being completely spun out.
They had a bit of a gap built up. But it was contact with Swenson and Alessandrini that led to DJ getting spun around. It's not going to matter. He'll still win the championship. Lupfer in 2nd, Swenson in 3rd. Patrick Gallagher from 11th to 6th. What a race. What a night. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a couple minutes for interviews. Welcome back live to SimTV and Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup, the season finale here at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Tom O'Gorman got it done in race number 3 of the night from your pole position that you fought very hard for in race 2, Tom, but it wasn't quite so easy. Got down to that white flag lap. What was going through your mind seeing Alessandrini, Swenson, and Lupfer all closing in?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a little hollow because I spun myself just like an idiot in race 1 to end up in the position to get pole for race 2, and then I didn't even have the pace to hold on to it from those guys coming back from like 10th and 9th place. So not super proud of myself, but I guess I still, held on for it with DJ and Jeremy getting together. So it still counts.
Still counts. You won the race. Talk to me about the brakes of this race car. It seems like this 3,600-pound beast is a pain to slow down, especially in traffic. What braking techniques can you use to kind of get this thing slowed down and not kind of get into the ABS so much?
Yeah, it's really tough. Like you just said, the ABS, the line between the ABS and the absolute threshold braking is really tricky. And you can rely on the ABS for maybe a qualifying lap, but relying on that really burns up the front tires. So feeling the line right between maximum braking and then getting into the ABS is really tricky. And then there's also a really fine finesse to releasing the brake pedal as you trail into the corner that gets the car into the corner without overusing the front end. That's extremely challenging and really what kind of makes or breaks pace in this car.
Tom, using those techniques excellently to win race number 3 of the night. Tom, congratulations, and we'll see you around, buddy. I'm not sure what the next plans are, but I'm sure we'll be there, I bet.
Oh, I'll be here.
All right, thanks for talking. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
Moving on now to Max Lupfer. Got it done, second place. Kind of a wild last lap there, Max. Walk us through your perspective of all that battling in race 1, 2, and 3.
Well, at this point, there's so much that went on, I don't even remember race 1 that much. It's that one was mostly just survive, don't fight too much. Although I did kind of get into some fights with Jeremy there towards the end of the first race. Second race, got a really good start, and was able to make it up to third and kind of just sit there. Same thing, battling with Swenson again and again. We seemed to be fairly evenly matched. I had a couple mistakes, but still came out with a third. Then we got the inversion for the last race. Had to work my way up a little bit, but for some reason going into 5, a whole bunch of people were really slow on the outside, so I capitalized on that to swing up the inside and make up a whole bunch of places. And then there, that last lap, I thought I didn't have a chance of catching anyone because going through turn 7, I misshifted and dropped it into neutral and saw them just start gapping away by 3-4 tenths. I was like, oh no, that's my race over. But then that whole thing with DJ and Swenson happened, and I managed to keep my momentum through the corner, get around on the outside of Swenson going through the carousel, maintain that through the kink. I guess made him back off a little bit and was able to get him going into Canada.
It seems like you've really clicked with this car. What do you think makes this car so intuitive for you to drive versus everyone else?
I honestly really don't know. There's just something about it that really suits my driving style. I haven't quite figured it out. It's been a while since I've driven rear-wheel drive cars in real life, so I can't even say that any of that's carried over. Maybe it's just because I've been a Ford guy recently. Ford Mustang somehow clicks.
Maybe a little superstition there as well. Max, congratulations. Some really good runs for you this season. Looking forward to seeing what else you got this season. Also, your BMW 2002 build, your 76 that you're setting up for GLTC this year. Looking forward. Make sure you follow Max on your social media. Do you have those plugs all set up? Your Twitter/Instagram/Facebooks? Your handles?
On Facebook, follow Shouth of the Border, SHOUTH of the Border. That's the race team. And then follow me, Max Lupfer, 82 Z-Kart Racer on Instagram. So, yeah.
All right, Max, thanks for talking. Congrats. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, it's the man of the hour. It's DJ Alessandrini. DJ, you won a whole bunch of stuff, and you can add this championship to that list. But it wasn't easy, especially in race 3. You had to fight through a bunch of traffic and got turned around in the last lap, but still ended up with the championship trophy. Again, you're so super good out there. Just walk us through your night and battling, especially in that third race.
Yeah, the third race was especially fun. It was a good time moving through all of the cars. And yeah, it was just unfortunate that I kind of bumped into Tom a little bit going into, what is that, turn 7? And I tried to slow up so I wouldn't end up spinning Tom, and Jeremy Swenson only has 1 speed, and it's a full-on go. I don't even think he lifted when he got into my quarter panel. He just kept going. It's like I wasn't even there. But all's good. He was going for the win. And I just couldn't get it in race 3. I think I had the pace to do it, but I couldn't stay clean. But it was a lot of fun.
This winter, we've done the MX-5s and the Mustangs, and it's been a pleasure to watch so many cars take to these racetracks. You know, how important is it to use simulators as kind of, I don't want to say necessarily a training tool, but just a way to kind of keep your skills sharp throughout the winter?
I think it's hugely valuable. Just keeping all the muscle memory. You know, you think about the not doing sim racing during the off season. Like, what are the guys doing that aren't sim racing. They're just like sitting around, like working on their car. They're not engaging those pathways in their brain to, hit the apex, to use the pedals to control the yaw of the car, to open up the wheel on exit. And so all those little skills that they refine over the season, and they feel like they're really driving their best toward the end of the season, the winter hits, and they're not as sharp as they were when they first get back in the car come springtime. And sim racing has always been a huge tool to me, not just to stay sharp, but to improve. I'll find mistakes that I'm doing in the real world. I'll find that I'm doing them the same thing in sim racing. I'll fix them in sim racing, then head over to the real world after the off season and find that those mistakes are pretty much gone.
So also, of course, the 2020 GLTC season is fast approaching down in the Circuit of the Americas on February 15th and 16th. I know you're kind of sharing Yarborough's car down there, but talk to us about your 2020 GLTC plans and your plans also to vlog them on your YouTube and Twitch channels.
Right, yeah, so Twitch will just be me putting in the daily grind on iRacing, and then YouTube, I'll be doing vlogs. The first vlog will be on the Grid Life game night. It's going to be a really rough product, guys, so apologize for the first couple videos, but it's a whole new frontier for me, just figuring out how to edit and what makes a good story as far as a vlog. So if you want to watch that struggle, just head over to my YouTube channel. Just search my name, you'll find me, and subscribe. I get a custom link and about like 3 more subscribers. So if you're the 100th subscriber, I will sincerely thank you for allowing me to not have an ugly URL. And as far as the GLTC season, yeah, I'm super excited for COTA. It's going to be a blast driving with Derek. Can't wait for that. And then the first race that my car will be out in is actually the Midwest Festival. And then I'll be at Mid Ohio and then Road America. That's what's currently in the budget right now. We'll see if I get any awesome overtime weeks or anything like that. Maybe open up some more races in the future. But yeah, I'm super excited for the GLT season, and I can't wait to be driving a real car again. The sim's fun, but sometimes it does feel like a daily grind, and just can't wait to be hanging out with my buddies in person, not through a microphone, and doing some real race car stuff. I'm getting a little cabin fever. I can't wait.
All right. Thank you, DJ. And again, he'll be a guest commentator on the Spec MX5 Sim Racing Challenge stuff on Wednesday nights come springtime as well. So looking forward to that.
I'm also looking forward. I'm warming up my chops.
Well, your microphone sounds good. It's the first time I've heard it, and it sounds beautiful. So, all right, DJ, thanks for talking. We'll see you later. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks, guys. Great job as always.
Thank you. And with that, Finian, that's going to wrap up the Grid Life iRacers Crowd Control Cup season and another season of spectacular racing here on Sim TV. These guys are always a blast to watch, and don't know what's coming up, but I don't think we're quite done yet with the winter season of racing, so keep your eye out for the next couple weeks. Something.
Yeah, it's going to be something. We have absolutely no idea what it's going to be.
Could be Legends cars at small road courses, could be Cadillacs at ovals. Who knows what these guys will do, but keep your eye out. F1 cars. Could be. Next stream is going to be, I believe, on Saturday night with the Outsider Racing League penultimate race from Dover, Delaware. So make sure you check out that link when it goes up the next couple days. Thank you so much for watching. As always, my name's Kyle Heyer, and with Finian DeCuna here, we'll see you later. Have a great night.